I've been procrastinating getting ready today and I'm not quite sure why. I'm just being rather lazy. It is now 10 to 2 in the afternoon and I still look like this. So I've sat down at my desk and I have so many new products to try. Some have been sent to me, some of them I have bought with my own money. We've got products from L'Oreal, Bare Minerals, NARS, Kosas, Anastasia Beverly Hills and Prada. So we're going to get straight on with it. I'm a huge fan of one and done eyeshadows, and NARS have released their new, what is it called? The Hot Escape collection, and they've sent me 4 of their new eyeshadow sticks in various colours. So I'll show you the swatches on the screen now. These are beautiful. I have used these on my eyes previously and I can tell you they blend out like a dream. So I'm going to use the shade Ablaze first all over the eye. I may go in with a little bit more of this shade. I already have some concealer on my eyelid just to mattify everything, but I haven't powdered it in place. So just drawing that on the lid and then just buffing that onto the eyelids to smooth it out to make sure nothing looks chunky. It just looks really well blended. And there's a lovely sheen to the surface of the eyelid. You can build this up as you want it, but I want it very, very subtle to begin with. So, gonna do something above the crease to lift my eye a little bit. I'm taking the shade Living Sin, and I'm just gonna pop a little bit on that outer corner. I'm not really doing a V, I'm just dabbing it on just to lift that outer edge. And again, exactly the same brush. I'm just going to blend that in. Look how natural that looks. It does have a little bit of shimmer in here. Again, you can build this up if you want to. Taking the shade Hustle, I'm going to pop a little bit there. This is a much warmer, bronzier shade, and I do like a little bit of warmth in my eyeshadows. We'll take a little bit of Mind Games right on the lash line, and I get a slightly smaller brush and I'm just gonna buff that in on the lash line, really push it down into the lashes. Just to add a bit more sparkle, I am going to take the first colour that we used and pop that on the inner corner. So easy, so quick. If you're on holiday and you want to be out the door very, very quickly, this magical. Absolutely beautiful. I finished both eyes off camera. I've built up the shade Hustle on the outer edge to add a little bit more warmth. This has taken me seconds, so much quicker than a usual powder eyeshadow. You can do it with your fingers, you can do it with a brush. What will be interesting, because these are so easy to blend out and buff away, I am interested to see whether these are budge proof. Now I still have the swatches on the back of my hand. I'm going to keep those on the back of my hand for a little bit longer, and then, you know, we'll rub them a bit and we'll see whether they go anywhere. I have a feeling these are going to move because these are so creamy and soft and blendable. I will be shocked if they stick to the skin and don't move anywhere. But watch this space, we'll test it out in a bit. We're gonna clean up the under eye and get rid of those dark circles. I do have a new concealer to try from L'Oreal. This is the Skin Ink. I've picked this up in 2 different shades. One is 100 Warm, which I have a feeling is going to be way too warm and a little too dark. And I've also picked up Neutral 20. Now on the website, these looked like they were going to be my shades, but actually after swatching them on the back of my hand, these are very yellow and very warm. So even the neutral shade is on the yellowy side. So I'm sort of kicking myself a little bit, wishing that I'd picked up a cool tone. We have 100 on the top and 20 on the bottom. I've got a feeling I'm going to be somewhere in between these. So I'm taking the very, very smallest amount and just dabbing that where I need it underneath the eye. This is actually really smooth. It's a little bit bright, a little bit brighter than I'd usually go for. So I'm just going to dip into the shade 100 Warm and just go over that a little bit more, hopefully buff some of that colour in, because I think I am going to be in between those shades and probably, like I thought, a cooler shade. This dries down incredibly fast. In fact, I've just had to put a bit more of the shade 20 Neutral on the back of my hand to just clean up this outer edge. It's looking a little bit dry underneath my eyes. Maybe I needed to prep my eyes a little bit more for this, but I can tell you it does deepen on the dry down, so the shade 20 Neutral isn't actually too light for me. The undertone is still all wrong. I will try and pick up a cool shade, but I've also just tried to get these patches off the back of my hand and it is going nowhere. It is going absolutely nowhere. So that is a good sign. If I can hydrate this some way, because you can see a lot of my fine lines underneath my eye. It's looking like I've powdered it already, and yeah, I haven't, which is a bit of a shame because I've got a feeling this is going to wear really well. I tried with a dry cotton round to get this off. I'm now trying with some makeup remover. It's still there. It's still there. My goodness. I recently reviewed the Bare Minerals Bare Pro 24-Hour Powder Foundation in my most recent foundation roundup, and it was most definitely my favourite out of the 4 or 5 foundations that I reviewed in that video, and a lot of your favourites as well. So I'm just going to apply this as I would. I'm going to apply it quite sparingly and then just build it up in the areas that I need it. I really like this because it's very airbrushing, it's very smoothing, it gives me the coverage that I want. It's slightly deeper than my skin tone. I like to use this shade when I have a little bit of a base tan, aka fake tan, because I don't go out in the sun. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of this on, very thin layers, and see whether we can blend in this concealer. I really love this foundation. Everything looks airbrushed. It doesn't look dry. It doesn't look cakey. It's just very, very smoothing and very flattering on my 45-year-old skin. I don't, however, love this concealer. I think it makes everything else look really dry. I mean, I've aged 10 years. So what I'm gonna do, because I do think it's human error, is I'm gonna remove, or try and remove, the concealer, and we're gonna go in again and give it a second go. I'm going to go in with the shade 20 Neutral, and with very, very sparing strokes, just going to add a tiny bit and work very, very quickly. I think because this dries down really quickly and the fact that it dries down into a powdery finish, that powdery finish grabs to the liquid concealer if you try and build this up and goes a little bit patchy and a little cakey. I mean, I've tried to give it a really good shot and I love the fact that this is budge proof, but if it's gonna look like this all day, it's not my cup of tea. Oh, I love L'Oreal products and I had really high hopes for this, but I mean, if I just zoom you in a little bit here, look at that. It's not my favourite. We're going to move on to mascara. I'm just going to curl my lashes to see whether we can disguise the disastrous concealer with a nice lifted fluttery black lash. I have a new mascara from Prada and I really, really like this applicator. If you have somebody in your household that likes their hair completely slicked back, you will recognize this brush. It looks like a slick brush and it grabs every single lash and pushes them towards the sky. I really like this. It separates everything. It combs them through so perfectly without getting too much of the product on at one time. I'm actually going to apply a little bit to those lower lashes. I very rarely put mascara on my lower lashes because I don't want to cast any shadow, but to be quite honest, if I can cast shadow over this concealer situation that I'm actually having a physical reaction to, yeah, all the better for me. It is more time consuming to get this on those upper lashes though, if you're wanting to build it up, because the shape of the applicator is that it doesn't seriously get from root to the back of the lash and coat 360 degrees because of the shape of the wand. So if you're wanting that, it's gonna take time. Anastasia Beverly Hills has released a brand new bronzer, and I haven't had very much luck with Anastasia Beverly Hills bronzers and highlighters in the past. I wasn't going to pick this up because I thought, you know what, this is just gonna be a disaster. It's not gonna be for me. However, I wore this yesterday and I love it. So it is silky smooth. There is not a hint of powder within this pan. It's actually really hard pressed. It's more of a baked product, and the shade is absolutely fantastic. Not too warm, not too cool, somewhere in between, so it doesn't look muddy on my skin at all. So I've gone for the shade Warm Sand Vibes, which I think is the second lightest shade that they do. So I'm just going to really go in the pan and pick up a bit of product and very lightly dust this where I want it. It blends out superbly well. It lays down on the skin beautifully without going patchy at all. I thought it was going to be one of those sorts of products that really gripped to any sort of moisture on the skin, but I was wrong. And it looks lovely. It does look sun-kissed, but it does not look orange, which is a pass from me. Look how beautiful and bronzy that is. It is a matte bronzer, but it's more of a natural matte, so it's not going to look flat on the skin. You can build this up. You can really build up that coverage if you want something a little punchier, a little deeper. I have built this up on my cheeks. I would say that this is the darkest that this is going to go in this particular shade, but it comes in so many different shades. I think there will be something for everybody. I think that looks so beautiful. Let's perk me up a bit and use one of my favorite products of the moment. This is a new find for me, but it is something that I now cannot live without. I absolutely love it. This is the Huda Beauty Lip Contour Stain. I have this in 3 shades now. I generally gravitate towards the shade Soft Nude or Rosewood for the outer border of the lip, and then concentrate Baby Pink in the center if I'm wanting to really stain my entire lip. This stayed on all day yesterday, even in the body of the lip, after eating, drinking, kissing Wes, all of those things, it was still intact at the end of the day. So I'm gonna go for Soft Nude. Now, I featured this in my 6 products I can't live without video, and in the comments section, there were a few mixed opinions about this product. One person saying, don't waste your money, this didn't work for me. The other person saying, do you know there's only 1 ml of product in here, and it's quite expensive for the amount of product that you get? Well, actually, no, I didn't realize that there was only 1 ml of product in here. However, I will await to see how long this lasts for. I use it every single day, and then I'll make my decision whether this is worth it. But at the moment, this is one of those products that I just can't do without, because I just think it looks absolutely amazing on my lips. Let's pop a little bit of the shade Baby Pink in the center, just so you can see the difference. I do like to prop these up so that the end of the nib is always full of ink, and I pop them in my little pot where I keep all of my other lip pencils. Never had an issue, so take that as you will. I adore it. Another product from the Hot Escapes collection from NARS. This is the NARS Afterglow Lip Oil in the shade High Life 508. So let's just give this a whirl. I quite like the applicator. The applicator to this is really quite small and dinky. It doesn't contain absolutely masses of product, which I like. Oh, that feels beautiful. I don't think I've felt a lip oil on my lips that feels like this. There isn't a hint of greasiness. It feels more like a velvety, really hydrating lipstick than a lip oil. This isn't that sort of consistency that's going to bleed and smudge out of your lips as the day goes on. And I now know why the applicator is so small. You need very little product on your lips. I thought I was going to say, oh, there are so many other lip oils available that are more affordable than this that are just as nice. And there are a lot of other affordable lip oils that are available, but none of them feel like this on the lips. Not even the Dior. I love that. And finally, let's bring everything together with a brand new shade from the Kosas Wavelength Blushes in the shade Blush is Life. Look at that. This is supposed to be a peachy shade. I think this is more pinky. I feel a bit hard done to. I do know from past experience that this is frighteningly pigmented. So my tip is use a very fluffy brush with these and only tap in the product once or twice. Once you've tapped in once or twice, I mean, you can see the amount of pigment that that has just taken up. I like to pat it on the back of my hand and then go into the cheek once I've removed any excess product. Oh, hello. All right, this is very peachy, but also has a pinky edge to it. So this is going to suit anybody that likes those pinks, but also likes those peaches. It's not overly warm and peachy, but it is definitely going to give you that summer glow. It is a baked blush. I loved baked blushes. You get a lot of pigment from a baked blush and you also get a lot of staying power from a baked blush. You also get that beautiful sheen on the cheek. So this is more of a matte, radiant blush, which makes no sense whatsoever, but I know what I mean and I'm hoping that you do as well. It is more or less a matte blush, but it does give you that hint of radiance coming through. So it really does look very, very natural on the cheeks. I've really enjoyed filming this video, but let's go through the products one by one. I really like the NARS shadow sticks. These are the most blendable shadow sticks I feel like I've ever used. You do not have to rush with these, and yet, look at the swatches on the back of my hand. Going nowhere. Once these have dried down, they're bulletproof. They may fade the tiniest bit throughout the day, but I can cope with that because of the consistency and the texture of these. So easy to use, really quick. I will be taking these away with me on holiday because I think this is a lovely, summery, glowy look for those summer evenings. The Bare Minerals Bare Pro 24-hour powder, it's a staple in my kit now. I have to have it every single place that I go. It's great for touch-ups throughout the day, even if you're not using this as a full over foundation. I think I'm gonna get a shade in a slightly cooler tone. This is a neutral tone, but I think I'm gonna get the shade 20 Cool as well, just to see the difference, because their cool tone shades, I believe, are more on the neutral spectrum rather than the neutral shades being slightly more yellow. And it's a running theme in this video, I think. The NARS Afterglow Lip Gloss, wow. Thought this was just gonna be another lip oil that was gonna be added to my drawer. This is top drawer lip oil. Love it. I'm gonna get this in some different shades. Never tried this before. Why have I never tried it before? The Kosas blush, absolutely love it. This is gonna last me years because you hardly need any and it blends out beautifully well. The color, the shade, right up my street. The Prada mascara, probably not gonna be my go-to for my upper lashes. I do love the look of this, but you know me, I like a really voluminous va-va-va-voom lash, and unless I want to spend 20 minutes applying this, this is not going to be my go-to. It's not meant for that. This is not a mascara that is meant for that. However, this will now be my go-to for those lower lashes. The Anastasia Beverly Hills bronzer, absolutely love. Really smooth, really airbrushing, very easy to buff out if you apply too much. I'm not quite sure what to say about the L'Oreal Skin Inks. I am interested to see what everybody else thinks and how these wear on everybody. My under eyes look like the Sahara Desert. It looks like I've drawn on this with a cream coloured crayon and not blended it out. That's how it's looking at the moment. It's upsetting me. For me, these are definitely not buildable in any way, shape or form. If you're wanting a really nice medium coverage, you're just wanting one layer of this without building it up, you may absolutely love this, but it did make my under eyes look dry. I'm not quite sure why that is. And because of the sheen underneath the eye, it's just exaggerating every single line and wrinkle, which you wouldn't be able to see had I been using my favourite concealer. So yeah, these are a bit of a disappointment, but you know, I might change my mind. Let me know what you think of them in the comment section. Do you love these? Have you had great success with these? Am I applying them wrong? I'm very eager to hear your opinions. What do you think of the summery, glowy look that I've created today? I really, really like it. I need to obviously take the fringe down and do my hair, but all in all, very happy if I can walk around like this all day. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have and you know somebody else that you feel might enjoy it just as much as you, please share it with them. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.